I'd like to call the October 14th, 2010 Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. And as always, I'd like to begin by asking you to join me as we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You'll see that today Commissioners Lehan and Peterson are not in attendance. That's because they're out of the office on other business, and we'll carry forward without them. The first item on our agenda is a presentation from Gary Schmidt, who is the Public Affairs Director in our Department of Public and Government Affairs, and he will talk to us about the Clackamas County Special Grants Program. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm pleased to give you an update this morning on the Special Projects Grant Program. The Board of County Commissioners, allocated $200,000 in the county's fiscal year 2010-2011 budget for the Special Project Grants Program. This program began last year, distributes grant funds to local nonprofit organizations for services that help the county's most vulnerable citizens. Last year, 18 local nonprofit organizations received grants for programs ranging from domestic violence outreach to healthcare services to emergency food services to parenting education. This year, organizations interested in being considered for funding submitted applications to the county in August. 46 nonprofit organizations from all over the county submitted applications requesting a total amount of $686,000. Yet there is only $200,000 that you were allocated to award. Funding decisions were made on the following criteria: the strength of the application by the organization, whether the service provided the most help to vulnerable families, seniors, or others to help them meet basic needs, to prevent the occurrence of larger, more dire problems later, to help save money through early intervention, to serve people throughout the entire community, and if the project was sustainable, that it can continue without prior or further county funding. County staff and the County Budget Committee submitted recommendations to you, the board, and earlier this week, you each made decisions on which organizations would receive this grant funding. Yet since we have not had the opportunity to notify all of the applicants yet, we are not announcing them today, but simply want you to know that the announcements will be made early next week, and we'll actually have a ceremony to recognize all of the recipients with you, the board, on Monday, October 25th at 10 a.m. here at the county. And we'll provide more information soon on that date to the awardees as also to the community so they can attend and for you to honor and recognize those organizations. Now, these organizations that receive funding will still be required to demonstrate to the county how the grant funds were used, including service level and performance measures. And this is just another example of how Clackamas County uses our resources to help those most in need during these challenging times.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any comments on that presentation?
Well, the only thing I would comment on, I think this is these are just great awards. I wish that we had even more dollars because I think we had requests of, 3 to 4 times as many dollars as we were able to provide to all of these organizations. So the need is always going to be greater. So that's my only dismay. But I think I'm really happy to see all the hard work that all of our staff put in, looking at all of the requests that came in to make sure they hit the criteria as closely as possible. So thanks for all of your work.
Commissioner Bernard?
Also, in addition, it kind of makes us more aware of the need out there and some of the organizations that provide that, service. But it's also important that, over the years, the 2 years I've been here, I guess it hadn't been that long, people are constantly coming in and requesting money, and it's very difficult to say, no, we've run out of money. So this was an opportunity for a lot of people to request dollars and for us to limit those dollars. So it was a very valuable exercise, and it's also being spread throughout the county, which I think is really important. Because some of these people could come in one time and ask for all the money we have, but this way we were able to spread it throughout the county, and I'm pretty excited about the last year's. I don't want to call them winners. Last year's recipients and this year's recipients are well-deserved. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much for your work on this. And also thank you to Caroline Hill in our office who helped lead up this process. She did a great job and worked hard on it. So thanks. All right. The next item on our agenda is citizen communication, and that's the portion of the meeting during which members of the community can come forward and offer testimony on a non-agenda item for up to 3 minutes. So if there's anyone in the audience who'd like to offer that kind of testimony, please come forward, fill out a blue card, and proceed. But seeing no one, I'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. We have no discussion items today. Before asking for a motion on the consent agenda, there are a couple of amendments. Item B1 has been removed for further staff review. And item F1 was added, and I'm going to read the title of that to give an indication of what it is. It pertains to approval of a contract with Ken's Flotation Services, Incorporated, for the design, construction, and moorage of a boathouse for the Clackamas County Sheriff's Marine Unit. I'm going to ask now for a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Any second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Austin, seconded by Commissioner Bernard, that we approve the consent agenda as amended. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Next, we have Commissioner Communication. Who would like to begin?
Well, let me start off with just some information about our strategic planning process. This is something that when a lot of us came on board, almost 2 years ago, we discussed the idea of strategic planning and how well that could help possibly all of our departments maybe work much better and collaboratively together. And so as part of that process, the county is asking for input. So you can all participate if you're out there and can hear me. So you'll have a voice in that process. We'll have an online poll available at www.clackamas.us. And so this poll will be online and open through October 31st. So, please visit, and hopefully we don't have such a rush that we crash the website, but be patient and look at the website, look at the questions in the comment fields, and feel free to participate. Ask your friends and neighbors to do so as well. But so this is another way of weighing in and into some of our thought process on how we can do an even better job in delivering the services that we do throughout the county.
Great, thank you. Any other items?
I think I'll wait for the moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bernard.
I attended the AOC, Association of Counties legislative board meeting in Salem. Bob Vorman over there is also on that committee. He's our assessor and tax collector. You do a great job, by the way. Appreciate having you there. Having that expertise is very valuable. Also, we talked about Measure 74, since I can say this as a politician, I believe I can say this, that our association will be opposing Measure 74, which is a marijuana initiative. I had an opportunity to head out with a sheriff's officer a few months ago and went into a house that a probation, somebody was on probation, and there was a marijuana plant sitting right there. And I thought, well, you know, this guy's on probation, but somebody else in the house had a card, and I'm very concerned about the expansion of access to marijuana, and I'm actually more concerned about the crime that could. I know we had a break-in earlier in the year, somebody trying to steal marijuana from somebody who had a car to grow it and was allowed to grow it, and I think this would just make it a lot worse. I also yesterday attended it's called GAINS. It's the Center for Mental Health Services. GAINS, it's a program that we brought into the county to evaluate our mental health services and to look at how we could provide those services in a better way. It was attended by the Sheriff's Department, parole and probation, a lot of our caseworkers and people from outside. It was a very valuable conference to attend. They had some more of it today, which I'd love to have attended, but I think one of the things that I learned most from sitting there is that so many of us don't know what the other department does. And I think that this will really open up some communication channels and provide other members of staff and people outside of the county know about the quality work that we do provide. I know that one judge didn't know that we provided one of the services we provide in parole and probation. We have like 350 people in the program, and she didn't know about it. And so this gave her the opportunity to talk directly to one of our staff members who provides that service. But we've also hired some new people to work in the jail or move people in the jail for mental health services so that we can, when somebody comes in, we can evaluate what their needs are, and we're looking into a reentry program in the future. So I'm very excited about the direction the county's going. Truthfully, we can't afford to build a lot of jails anymore. And we can't afford to keep putting people in jail and just letting them out and hoping that they don't come back, because really 93% of the people that go to jail do get out. Unless we provide them some opportunity to change their lives, they're going to end right back in that jail, and frankly, we can't afford that. So I think there's a ballot measure in the voters pamphlet. I don't know what that number is.
Measure 73.
Measure 73. Measure 73 is probably one we want to vote, you to consider not supporting also, because that would increase our jail population and force some of those other people that should be in jail out. So be sure and read your voters pamphlet and make the right decision. Thank you.
And Madam Chair,
Commissioner Austin, yes.
just wanted to add one more thing. When Commissioner Bernard mentioned some of the ballot measures, I just wanted to say that there are lots of forums out there. I went to one this morning sponsored by the North Clackamas Chamber of Commerce, where they had folks in talking about at least 4 of the various ballot measures that are out there, just pros and cons. And it was a really good way to learn more about those. So lots of information in voters pamphlets as well as other places, but it was really good to be able to hear some of the pros and cons with experts on things like minimum sentencing, lottery dollars for natural resources, Damascus, whether they should annex into the library district in Clackamas County, and what benefits that would bring. Several of those were discussed this morning, and they had a pretty good attendance. So I'm not going anywhere in terms of asking people to support or not support, but take a look at all the information out there, and it's sometimes really hard to find enough information, but there should be enough within the voters pamphlet, and it'll probably lead you to other sources too. So take a hard look at those before you decide to make a decision. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I know that one thing this board cares a lot about is being a strong partner to our business community, because we know that when families have jobs, that not only are they more financially stable, but that helps them in a lot of other ways too. And so we've been doing a lot of outreach to the business community to figure out what we can do well, how we can provide the best possible customer service. And in the last week or so, I'm pleased to say that I've had a chance to meet with business people in Malino, attend a Chamber of Commerce meeting in Sandy and in West Lynn, met at the Wilsonville Chamber of Commerce with the Clackamas County Business Alliance, and later on today we'll be going to the Estacada Chamber of Commerce, because we really want to provide excellent customer service and be great business partners. So not only do we want to come to your meetings, but if you ever have a concern and there is something happening in the county about which you have questions or suggestions for improvement, please don't hesitate to call us or come to our office, because we want to be responsive and effective. And the best way to enable us to do that is by hearing directly from you, as early in the issue of concern as we can. So thank you for that. Also, I just want to note, given the season that we're in, the fact that sometimes this type of season can lead to some challenging communications, that I was really touched by the Chilean miners story, because, I'm sure all of us have spent more time than we would care to admit taking a look at those wonderful footage of the 33 miners and the 6 rescue workers being rescued. And I think that their fortitude and their teamwork through that difficult time is really inspirational, and I hope that we will all think about that as we move forward. Steve Wheeler, our county administrator, would you like to offer any comments today?
Well, I would like to amplify on one thing that you just said, which is that if there are problems with county operations, whether you reach you or my office, county administrator, we're always welcome and glad to look into any issues that might come up and try to head them off before they become even bigger issues. So that is one thing. The other thing, I would like to introduce and welcome Agnes Soul, who is sitting as our interim county counsel and will be helping us for 3 to 4 months while we search for a permanent county council.
Wonderful. Other comments, commissioners? All right. Since there is no further business, I will adjourn, and please stay tuned for a list of community events happening in the coming week. Thank you.